Talladega, Alabama, and the Talladega Superspeedway, where the fans come to see thrill-a-minute racing that you won't find anyplace else. It was a little too thrilling for Brian Scott a moment ago. Turned out of traffic, collecting 5 other cars, bringing out the second caution of today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race. While we're under the yellow, take a minute to remind you that the NBA playoffs continue tomorrow with a doubleheader here on ABC. First at 12:30 Eastern, Kia NBA Countdown. Then at 1 Eastern, Luol Deng and the Bulls visit Andre Iguodala and the 76ers in Game 4 of their series. And then at 3:30 Eastern, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and the Heat host Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks in Game 4. The NBA playoffs on ABC, home of the NBA Finals. Here at Talladega, we are cleaning up from that multi-car crash that put us under the caution flag. We saw repairs being made on pit lane to some of the cars involved. We have seen a second pit stop here for Kevin Harvick. Doc, what's up?
Actually, this is the only stop he's making, Alan. A little strategy by Ernie Cope and Kevin Harvick by waiting to come in right now. They're going to top it off, and also the 3 cars going to come in. They're going to top both these cars off with fuel, meaning they will have a 1-lap buffer to make it to the checkered flag on one more stop. Also checking the front end on the 3 car, but 4 tires here for Kevin Harvick and a bumper check for the 3. Minimal to no damage at all for Austin Dillon. Guys?
All right, and the late pit stop strategy there for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 6 as well. Kurt Busch back on track after being involved in the accident a moment ago.
You can see Kurt Busch here right in the middle behind Brian Scott. Goes to make a move to the inside. Just hooks the left rear corner of the bumper. And that's where the damage for the 1 came as Morgan Shepherd was forced down. Dave?
Kurt was on pit road 3 times to the attention of the crew. Nick Harrison's the crew chief. Nick, how is the car?
I think the car's okay. The biggest concern was the toe end getting knocked out. Everything feels fine there. It was mostly cosmetic damage, but just got the gas can hung up on the first stop and kind of got us back in the mess. But seems like we repaired everything, and the Hendrick.com Chevrolet ought to be just fine, work its way back to the front here, and that's what we're hoping for.
We've seen cars with some damage do well at these restrictor plate races, guys, so we'll see how Kurt does on this next run as far as speed goes.
Yeah, Dave, Kyle Busch was involved in an incident last year, got his car torn up, patched it up, brought it back home for the win. So it's not over yet for Kurt.
So getting set for the restart here. We're just past a quarter of the distance into the race. The guys up front did not pit under this yellow. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5, Justin Allgaier in the orange 31, Danica Patrick in the 7. No pit stops for them under this caution.
Green, green, green.
And here we go.
Justin Allgaier is going to be the odd man out.
There's some conversation on the pace laps about Danica and Jr. teaming up in the draft a little bit.
Yeah, I imagine that's they're going to go as long as they can. She'll have an eye on that temperature gauge here, though. I'm sure they'd like to get a little bit of a lead out here, but you've got the 18 and the 2. Logano and Sadler hooked up again, coming to their outside right now.
It's going to be a potent combination to beat at the end of this race. Those two really work good together.
You said it as I was thinking it. They have shown some muscle in the early going and the ability to work together in the draft.
About 4 wide behind this.
Yeah.
And Allgaier finally found him a car that he can get with his teammate, Brad Sweet. It's Brad's first time here, but he's doing a nice job so far.
Sweet driving that 38 car, black and white machine, outside lane. 30 cars on the lead lap, 26 of them in the lead pack.
Pretty good job of counting those you did there.
And I carried the 1, too.
Allgaier still running by himself, hadn't found anybody to draft with.
Watching that patched up one car from Kurt Busch. Pushing his way up through that center lane of traffic. Second car in the center lane there.
Going pretty good.
It's up to 11. Just a couple of laps after the restart.
These Penske teammates are. They're all the way at the back. You see Harvick and Stenhouse. They're just trying to stay out of trouble.
Those were the four that weren't in the 30 on the lead lap. And made it kind of easy. So right from the get-go, the Penske posse and Kevin Harvick dropping toward the back. We've seen Harvick shoot back up through a couple of times, but Hornish and Keselowski choosing the try and avoid trouble strategy for the beginning part of this race.
One thing that'll do too is it'll allow Harvick. We heard him say he was inside of a fuel window to make it a one more stop. That strategy will use a lot less fuel.
Front 10 there, single file. On that outside lane, Brad Sweet, 38, now with some drafting help from Mike Wallace in the 0-1, and Kurt Busch in the 1 pulls up to join the tail end of the lead group.
It's like Kurt Busch has been able to do that almost by himself.
Yeah, he's done a lot of it by himself. But he's very experienced at this, and he's only a few cars behind, getting hooked up with his brother, Kyle, who's just about 3 cars in front.
It's the first time we've really seen him single file in that big line up front.
Brad Sweet tried to move down to that inside lane after his tandem draft broke up and looked a little tentative there just for a second. Are you sure I'm clear? Are you sure?
They were trying to make a switch with he and Mike Wallace, but the switch wasn't going too good. If you're going to switch, you have to roll out the throttle a little bit and allow your partner to be able to pass and get in front.
Remember earlier we saw Joe Nemechek pushing Dale Earnhardt Jr. up toward the front of the pack. Then all of a sudden Nemechek dropped off Jr.'s back bumper, dropped way back, and spent a long time on pit road under this last caution. It's up with the 87 car. They, word from pit road is added water to this 87.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen more cars have to do that.
I really think that's what a lot of this racing right now is about. It's just a little bit of conservation and giving yourself an opportunity, because you can't run like this, not have to be tucked right up and get plenty of air to your race car and to that engine and not put yourself in a dangerous situation.
Talked about how stressful this driving is for the racing. Does there come a point when you've seen that first wreck, you're in the middle of the pack, you see that car get turned into the wall, where it changes your driving for a little bit?
Well, I think that's probably what, between that and the temperatures of these cars, that probably has calmed this down. We always see a point in time, or we used to when we had the pack racing, that things would get strung out. Everybody wanted to relax just for a little bit because you know how frantic things are going to get at the end.
Well, it might be calm for a second, but it won't stay that way for long.
Go get restless.
Everybody wants to be out front. Joey Logano is the one out front at Talladega. He has come so close. Never finished worse than third in 3 tries, but he's also not taking home the win yet. Spectacular racing at Talladega. Looking down from our aerial coverage today, brought to you by DirecTV. Only DirecTV gives you dedicated driver channels, so you'll never miss a second of your driver's race. Call 1-800-DirecTV, and you don't want to miss a second of that.
That was a good angle for that little move.
Joey Logano to the point. Mike Bliss in that 44 got pushed to the front by Kevin Harvick.
What was so impressive about that was, yeah, Joey Logano to see where he's going. Elliott Sadler has no idea where he may be being led right there and the moves that they might have to make because he can't see those cars that are blocking his vision as he looks through the 18. But wow, what a great job.
I can imagine just holding on to the steering wheel. Okay, I don't know where we're going. Well, they're quick.
Yeah, we're going fast.
Wherever you go, I'm following. 7-car shuffle back a little bit there, Doc.
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. A moment ago, she was running a 4th spot right behind the 5 car, and they kept telling her, stay in the tire tracks of Dale Jr., the 5 car, and hug that yellow line. Stay there, stay there. And then she radioed and said, water temperature 260 and rising. She said, you got to breathe it. She put her nose out and got shuffled, and now she's lost about 7 or 8 spots. Guys?
Welcome to Talladega.
Yeah, this is one of the things you got to really protect because at the end of this thing, you got to have a radiator that's full of water so you can push.
Yeah, and you know, in just a few years past, just a few races really with all of this going on, so we see some debris flying. I believe that's probably some tape off the 1 car going up there back there. But you used to be able to make a difference in that. You could come on a pit stop and take a little bit of a tape off that. Don't have that option this day and time.
NASCAR mandates the size of that opening.
Oh, look out there. Joey Logano a little sideways off the bumper of Elliott Sadler. Nice save at 190 miles an hour.
That was incredible. Incredible save by Joey Logano. That would have been a huge wreck.
You look at this banking in these turns, Dale, and you think that's the hardest part of the racetrack, but that tri-oval that has half the banking in the corners actually is dicier to a driver.
Yeah, it really is. The cars get really light at that point in time. You don't have the load that you have once you get down into the corners, so your car, the back end of your car is getting really light there. Any contact can mean disaster.
Scary moment for Joey Logano.
Mark. Coming back to you here on your bumper.
You can see that just that little bit of getting hung up on the very right corner of the bumper there. These bumpers don't line up that well because of how rounded they are. And so when you get off the center of that, then it really makes a huge difference.
And that they have to run offset so that rear car can stay cool enough. And Elliott's doing a good job of that, but that is the danger.
Pit road, Jamie.
And you hear the communications between Elliott Sadler and his crew, and he said, well, I was way on his butt. That was my fault. But in the meantime, these two are having a great time running together. You see they're already locked back up and moving toward the front. Elliott Sadler saying Joey Logano has been, quote, textbook on the restarts and as far as pushing and doing the tandem. These two are a threat. Alan?
Very much. I agree.
I think these two have kind of shown their hand on what they can do today. The question is, who out there has not shown what they can do?
See, the Wallaces paired back up again. Mike and Kenny.
0199, that outside lane. And in Logano getting shuffled off the front bumper of Elliott Sadler. Dale Jr. went to the point in the 5 with the Busch brothers, 2nd and 3rd. How about the leader, Dave?
You guys talked about pushing another car earlier and the dangers of doing that and overheating your car. Well, we saw Junior push early in the race, about 10 laps in a row. Do we think he's learned what he needs? Listen to him under the last caution.
Gotta ask if you'd like a push on this restart since the 7 will be in your mirror. It's not really, not necessary. I don't really think we need to do any pushing till the end unless, for whatever reason. I don't really know why you'd want to do it otherwise. I know what I can do. I'm ready to do it when the time comes to do it.
Now, as you heard, he was discussing being pushed, so he's seen both sides of the spectrum. And what do you think that thing is that he was talking about that he knows how to do here, guys?
That's one of the guys that hasn't shown his hand yet.
Yeah.
I think there's a few more. At the very back, you got Brad Kozlowski and Hornish, and we haven't hardly talked about them at all because they're just hanging back.
Yeah, it's something I think that Junior's learned about his cars, how much he can push and get him and another car out in front of the pack, and then that would allow them to settle it between themselves.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 5 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series wins, 1 NASCAR Nationwide Series win at Talladega. He's going for another one today. Oh, wow.